Namaste. Om Sai Ram. So, we continue the series on the life of Dr. Anna Sahib Gavankar, and in this first episode, we will talk about the Sakshatkar experience that their family was blessed with. So, this experience was noted by Dr. Anna Sahib Gavankar himself in a letter that he wrote to one of his mentors or spiritual gurus, making a detailed account of what happened that day and a few events that preceded it. So I would encourage devotees to read this letter. It's very, very, very beautiful, and it is mentioned in this book as well in his original book Shirdi Che Sai Baba. So Gautam, you have read the letter and a detailed account of this divine blessing and experience. So what would you take away from this?
Nick, firstly, what I found beautiful, this episode happened after how many years after Baba dropped his body?
1918, and this happened in 1954.
So imagine that. That in itself proves to me that the fact that this was recorded in a letter, it is of such deep significance that it cannot be missed. So I read this very intently, this chapter. I studied everything Baba said, because nothing is insignificant. For example, I was quite surprised, Nick, when Baba mentions to him that don't wear me on your finger, wear me around the neck. That was new to me as well, because some devotees, whoever their guru may be, they wear a ring with the image of the guru. And of course, I drew my own insights like everyone needs to if they read this line and see what it means to them.
If I don't want to paraphrase it, but Baba used the word, Baba koi khilona nahi hai.
Yes.
That you wear Baba around your ring, remove it and put it around your neck.
Yes. And for me, that also means it's at the level of the heart chakra. So, like I said, there's gems, and different people, depending on their nature, their conditioning, will pick out different things.
One of the things I picked up, Gautam, was the preceding yearning Anna had, like one-pointed yearning. They say there's that spiritual, in various traditions, they say when you have the yearning like a fish out of water, and wo tadap hoti hai, then you are given something.
Yes.
So it's beautiful because when he began sharing the letter, he first goes to Shirdi with a few devotees and his family, and he cries to Baba that, have you forsaken me? You give darshan to so many other devotees, and what have I done wrong? I mean, which is a very earnest, childlike prayer.
Yes.
But, his immersion in the practices even there, and thereafter him coming back, and it also is his guru's assurance to him, Bhau Sahib Maharaj. So when Bhau Sahib Maharaj passed away, he told him there will be 3 subsequent masters who will come, and the third last one will elevate you spiritually. So on that very day he was praying. The first one came, the second one came, and Baba now, I'm still waiting. So I feel that that yearning, that wholehearted, one-pointed yearning was the preceding thing, because this doesn't happen by chance, of course.
Yes, but luckily and fortunately, that was the time when there weren't such distractions which there are today. So yearning becomes even harder, Nick. Just see the time spent on, let's say, social media, streaming services, and there's such fragmentation of awareness and attention. So it's very rare that quality of yearning is what? For the divine, which is not apart from who you are. So actually if this is primary, after all, Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi said, the purpose of life is to realize the self. That is the yearning for the self. So it is really the core of the spiritual journey. And if it is the core, it has to be given priority.
I wouldn't say I beg to differ, but I feel in today's time, with the amount of distraction, there's also for the sincere seeker a very great opportunity, because never before in the history of mankind have things been spinning so fast that you literally cannot hold on to anything.
True.
So you see the apparent unreality, what they call Maya, for the one that is sincere, it becomes very easy to see through that. See, there's no joy in the world. In all of these contents are fleeting.
Yes.
So therefore, when the intellect is convinced that the Guru's word, like say in the Sai Sat Charit, what Baba has said, now there's a resolute, one-pointed focus that yes, what Baba has said is absolutely true, and we hold on to that.
Yes.
So I feel that dream, so to speak, to hold on to these illusions, for the ones that are ripe, it's a great opportune time also.
It is. In that sense, I agree it is. But it is the awareness and the anchor, in this case Baba,
Yes.
which makes one more of a witness rather than being involved in the drama of life. So, could I speak about what for me was one of the main points in this chapter?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It is on the seva to the Guru. And these are Sai Baba's words, nobody else's. Always serve your Guru. The Guru is higher than Sai Baba. Do not just say Sai Baba or Ram. Say Satchidanand Sadguru Shri Baba, Sai Baba. Say Shri Ram, not just Ram. And of course he continues. What I would like to touch upon here is seva to the Guru. Now the Guru is consciousness. The Guru, you could say, is your higher self, the divine. There are various ways to describe the Guru. But in the manifest world, there is the form of the Guru and there is the teaching of the Guru. So seva to the Guru means what? In earlier times, Nick, in Baba's time, much later in the 50s, 40s, Ramana Maharshi, Sri Aurobindo, many disciples flocked and moved lock, stock and barrel to be with the Guru and live within the Guru's field, Guru Kshetram. And they did different kinds of seva depending on their aptitude. Some helped build structures, some helped publish books, some did physical seva, depending on either their nature or what Baba assigned to them. You see, it reminds me of in Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi's case, where he assigned to Annamalai Swami construction. That was assigned. Now, this is very important, seva to the Guru, because we imbibe, it is actually a favor being done to us. We don't realize that we, being individuals, think we are helping someone. Oh, I'm helping this person. No. The divine has given you the opportunity to serve the divine. That is the importance of seva. You know, seva, Nick, is not, oh, I want to volunteer something, but my timings are 9 to 9:30 a.m.
Convenience.
You see? Yes, we all are busy. I'm not taking that away. Some people have families, but it cannot be 1 out of 20 things to do in the day. You see, because this is separate, the Guru-disciple relationship is unlike any other. This gets missed in this generation because we all have busy lives indeed. You see? Now, seva to the Guru is also constant. One is a physical act, but if there's constant remembrance of the Guru, constantly wishing well upon the Guru, thinking how else can I serve the Guru, which is the Guru principle, that is also seva. So it is not this pocket of time which I assign and the rest of the day it's not in my consciousness. You see, because that is what I feel when Baba speaks such words. He doesn't want us to look at the surface. And you see, it reminds me, now this I'm paraphrasing, which I share quite often in my satsangs. There was a Sufi mystic called Bhai Sahib, and he had a Russian disciple. So they had a conversation, and one day she said, this chair is black. Something like that, I don't remember the exact colors. And he said, no, it's blue. She said, no, it's black. He said, I am telling you, it's blue. She said, all right, if you say it's blue, it's blue. He said, no, that is the mistake you're making. If I say it's blue, you have to see it as blue. It is a very important point because you see, we are using our intellect, our mind, thinking we know best. When we bow down to the Guru, we are offering the ego at the feet of the Guru. That is surrender. But if we are stuck on our positions, always viewing, and we also even judge the Guru as a personality, because as individuals we are at that level. So I'd like to add a bit on this. It's so beautiful, really. And imagine someone like Sai Baba himself says, the mother sent me, not I decided to come. That is fabulous. That is like, even there's a lesson. I can't say, Nick, how important this chapter is. I think this needs to go down in the history of literature on Sai Baba, this particular chapter in this book, honestly. And I do hope that that happens. So, a few paragraphs later, Baba says, emotions and actions should go hand in hand. The best action is service to people. You serve Sai, serve your Guru, do seva and eat meva. You have served your Guru, that is why you have every privilege to eat meva, which is his grace. See, the Guru is not an individual bestowing grace because you are doing seva to him. This is not an individual to individual relationship. Grace flows through the Guru because service is done to grace. Now, who would not want to serve grace if this realization was there? I have said this years before on your channel that when someone asked Maharaj, Nisargadatta Maharaj, is there any benefit in being in the proximity of the Guru? His reply was a bit lateral. He said the trees near the sandalwood tree in a forest start emitting the same fragrance. So how do we get close to the Guru? All of us cannot move physically by doing seva. By doing seva, we start emitting the same fragrance, which is the essence of the Guru. In my own case, Nick, I must add here, I published some books of my spiritual guide and I was very involved in them. Editing, proofreading, having meetings with him because certain parts I didn't understand what he was trying to say. It is only after years I realized what a gift that was to me because my mind was churning all the time with those paragraphs and words and it was going in. It was a tool which the Guru gave me as a favor to me so that my mind was just absorbed in the teachings. It happens automatically. You keep thinking about the concepts, the words of the Guru, what Baba said, eat meva, and different things unfold, you see. I can serve the Guru in various ways. Like living the teachings is serving the Guru. That's the highest form of serving the Guru. And as he said, serve other people. How can I serve other people? I may not have money, let's say. I can give my time. I have a certain skill set, I can offer it to somebody who needs that. There are various ways to serve the Guru. The beautiful thing about serving the Guru is the me is getting diminished because I'm serving the other, and in this case the other is the divine. It is so beautiful that Baba said such simple beauty in simplicity. I have always been drawn to simple teachings. I find his so simple, but because it is simple, it tends to get missed.
There was something notable in this experience that when the book was being compiled, it was the fact that how committed Anna was to his practice, to such a pinnacle that when Baba has given them Sakshatkar, because see, on day one, when Baba came, doctor, oh doctor, he repeated it 3 times, and Anna went, he immediately realized this is Baba. Baba denied it, but the next morning, at 5:20 to 8:20 a.m. on the 18th, he was immersed in his Namsmaran sadhana, so much so that Baba tells Anna's son that your father and mother, they are taking my name only. So I feel this, to me, in the history of spiritual history, like, you know, it is a very, very, very prominent, very, that God himself says, look, you know, he's taking my name. So this to me was a very big cue that, you know, the commitment to sadhana, because as you said earlier, even in seva, there should be no convenience. Like, you are immersed in it, the commitment to your Guru, mind, body, soul, everything is surrendered. So even in sadhana, that there are so many beautiful accounts like that. Even in the life of Lord Krishna and the Leelas, there was one king who was his devotee. And when he was immersed in sadhana, he was completely unavailable to the world. So much so that once his kingdom was being attacked and he didn't come out. And then they saw someone on a horse has wiped out all the enemies, and that was Lord Krishna himself. So you see, that one-pointed, committed thing to the sadhana, Anna Sahib was an embodiment of.
Yes, you know, I'll tell you, fortunately in my case, I was disciplined from childhood. I had no problem, it was not an effort to have a routine, let's say. And then I became an early riser. I would wake up at 4:30, sit in silence and whatever. I found nothing could disturb my routine because it was so early in the morning. Now, I've been with gurus who teach, let's say, pranayama, kriya yoga, which is a proper breathwork practice. My own mother teaches a practice. And some of her students will say, oh, this morning I had to go somewhere, so I did it only twice a week. Evening, I did it in the morning, another day I did it in the evening. That becomes a fragmented sadhana. And so I think, especially in the case of Baba's devotees, sadhana is stressed upon by Baba, you see. So this prioritization, it cannot be a half-baked sadhana, because if it is, you'll benefit with half-baked benefits. It's you put something in the oven and bring it out before time, it's going to be half-baked.
Baba would himself say, as you sow, so shall you reap.
Yes, so he emphasized this. And I feel that that time of the day has to be taken out, where we know if you are in a family, grihastha, whatever it is, I am least likely to be disturbed. Again, it cannot be at my convenience. That, oh, I wake up late, so 6 to 7 p.m. is fine, but if a social engagement comes, then one day I'll miss the sadhana. So I understand this is easier said than done and people are engaged in their lives, but again, for a serious seeker. You see, in those days, Nick, they, like I said in the earlier episode, moved lock, stock and barrel. Here we are immersed in our lives and we can't fix that point, that amount of time for sadhana.
You see, I was thinking of something. If one is sincere, you can take little steps. You could start with 10 minutes a day, but be committed, and then slowly build it to 15, 20, 25, 30, 40. And when it's consistent and you're committed, you know, as there's that saying, where there's a will, there is a way.
Yes.
So it will in fact create a vacuum if, for example, you're not able to, in an actual emergency, you will begin to feel restless at that particular time.
You will miss it.
You will. So, you know, sometimes someone may want to, but it may seem so daunting that, oh, he would sit for 3 hours. But somewhere even Anna started with 5-10 minutes, no? And I often say this, that when we see the great examples of these Mahabhaktas, that there's a lot to learn, imbibe and emulate from it. But at the same time, we can start now. We can start now with the right attitude, the earnest effort, and then Baba himself will grace you, provided you are earnest.
Yes, and you know, like you said, even during the day, for example, if you know you're going to be driving somewhere or traveling in a train or wherever, you allot that time for specific sadhana which you can do within the mind or whatever it is. But that allocation happens that now I'm just being transported. So rather than just listening to music all the time or looking out the window, let me start some practice. So each individual can decide this for themselves. But throughout the day, little things, it's like a reset in the day. Like those who meditate, they are told that often take a break every 2 hours from what you're doing and just for even a minute, sit and meditate, because then that quality starts permeating through the day. So sadhana is something which I feel too is stressed upon. My guru's guru, Nisargadatta Maharaj, would encourage people to meditate, to go within. He would say 1-2 hours a day. So this is a way to serve the Guru. No fragmentation, because, I'm sorry to reiterate this, because a fragmented practice brings fragmented results.
One other thing, Gautam, I was particularly drawn to in this experience is Baba emphasized to Anna's son that respecting your parents and being truthful. And so much so that Baba said those who have parents should first serve their parents. Those who don't have should serve Baba. So he said parents come first.
Yes.
And it's very unfortunate in today's era that the elderly, the parents are neglected. So if we can discuss this.
This is very true, Nick, and this is across traditions. My Sufi mentor in Kashmir, he was telling me once, a shop owner in a small town, prospering, is there with his wife and kid. Parents are in Kashmir. So the Sufi mystic said, I've been telling him, your parents are aging, you made your money, you'll always make more. Your shop is prospering, but you need to go and serve your parents. He says, no. Work is worship. He said, I've got tired of telling him, but even in our Sufi tradition, the parents come first because they were our first gurus. Not only did they take care of us, but we learned from them. The Rinanubandhan is so close with the parent. Yes, I understand some people don't have great relationships with their parents, but this is an obligation, a karmic debt, and Baba has emphasized it. So it is better to heed such advice, which is what requires a leap of faith, Nick. If I don't get along with a parent and Baba is my guru, and I read in a book, he says, take care of your parents, I have to do what he says. If I bring my mind in, I'll always resist. So this is again very important, very significant and very beautiful. And it also shows the Guru's humility, Baba's humility, that he's saying, no, serve your parents first. It's amazing.
And then Gautam, with that, Baba also corrected Anna's son on being truthful, because he had not cleared his exams twice, and then he corrected him. Baba, the all-knowing, almighty, he corrected him in a very gentle way. And there were two things he said here, which one was always speak the truth, and it's okay if someone is untruthful, dare to speak untruth. So we can discuss both these aspects.
Yes. You see, if we have a habit of lying, what we don't realize is that there is only one true self. That means we are all the time lying to the self. And then that comes back to us, as within, so without. If there is only one self, if there's only one God behind it all, and I'm constantly lying, I'm lying to the one self. So whom am I fooling? I think I'm lying to other individuals. But that is not the truth. As Baba has said. You see, so these are very important pointers again. What is truth? Sat. Truth is being, consciousness, right? And when my thinking mind, which is not mired in separation, me versus people versus the other, and I don't care, and if I have to lie, I'll lie, and all that, it is deepening that separation. When I stick to truth, that separation is reducing. So this is again such a beautiful pointer, because we all do it, Nick. We tend to lie a lot because the ego has this nature, this habit. The first step is acknowledging it, understanding, investigating, why do I lie? What is behind my lie? What am I trying to protect myself from? And so on and so forth. One has one's own internal processes. But just this step is enough to begin it, that whenever I am saying a lie, I catch myself saying. And that will start the process.
You see, the word I often say, Gautam, is convenience, because I always feel this, that if you're given a choice of pain today, pleasure later, the mind sometimes is conditioned that instant gratification. At the convenience, you may just mince a few words and find your way through now. But when you do that, you become a habitual offender, it becomes your character. And I and my Guruji both would say one thing: when you speak the truth, then what you say will happen. Even I is very particular. So much so that once she, for returning 2 rupees to someone, she took Masterji, they took a bus back, I think 50 kilometers to return that money.
Wow.
So that is a very extreme, very, very particular. But I feel these things, when we see, like the tendency, as you said, the first step is to be aware. But sometimes when you take the path that is difficult, in the long run, that is rewarding.
It is extremely rewarding. Extreme. Because after all, the truth shall set you free. The truth shall set you free. And what is that truth? If I really saw Baba behind everyone, I would not want to lie to anyone, right? Because it would mean lying to Baba. You see, it's just the dimension from which we see our relationships and how they operate. And a new level of consciousness starts revealing itself to us, a level of awareness. It's all a journey of awareness, Nick. Awareness from the egoic mind unconscious egoic mind mired in the world, in Maya and all that stuff, to the heart, not the physical heart, the heart of awareness. This is a journey for all Baba devotees watching this series. It is a journey of awareness.
So Gautam, Baba also mentions here that when someone speaks untruth, or people are slightly crooked, there it is okay to speak an untruth. I think we can speak on that aspect as well, because unfortunately in this era of time, we can't live, I would say, naively as well.
Sure.
Yes. So if we can speak on that aspect.
You see, this, if it is looked at in the light of what we just said. Now, supposing we have to ensure we are not harmed because someone is lying to us, and we know it. In such an instance, what Baba says is, it's fine. So we have to use our intellect, our buddhi, to see, is this the case? And if I speak the truth, will that harm me? So Baba is not saying suspend your buddhi. He is laying down that the way to operate is to speak the truth, but in some instances, when you know you are being lied to, you can meet a lie with a lie. Now, I may not have to. Supposing I know that this person is lying to me, but it's not harming me in any way, it's fine. I don't have to force myself to say a lie. Baba is not saying that. He's saying, look at the situation. Take care of yourself. You know you're being lied to, and react appropriately. If that reaction or response rather means you have to meet a lie with a lie, so be it. Because you see, in that person's case, he is giving what he gave you. Cause and effect, as within, so without. So it's still in the operation of the cosmic laws, what Baba has mentioned. You see, we take Baba's word as the word of God, and what we are attempting here, Nick, is to get insights from them. Now, these are the insights I get. I have not discussed this with you. This is coming spontaneously.
This is even mentioned in the Gita and various scriptures. In the event of self-defense, then it is not considered a sin. And even in the life of Sri Ramakrishna Dev, there is a beautiful story in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, in which a snake basically came to a sadhu or a passing saint in the village, and he was seeking, to spiritually go ahead. So the only thing the saint told him is, don't harm anyone unnecessarily. And he took it literally. Then some children in the village started pelting stones at it and were attacking that little snake. But he didn't do anything, and they almost thought it had died. Later, when that saint was passing by, he saw this reptile in very bad condition, and he asked him what happened. So he said, see, you had told me not to harm anyone. So then the sadhu or saint told him, I told you don't harm anyone, but you could have hissed. So you see, I feel it's very relevant in today's world,
of course,
that we don't harm someone, but at the same time, I feel we should also not be very naive.
Yes. So therefore, if the world or certain aspect of it is lying to us in whatever way we realize it's a lie, we meet it appropriately because we are safeguarding ourselves.
And Baba in the Satcharit also mentioned that from such elements that are crooked, don't even let their shadow come near you. So, while we may, as a thing of self-protection, have to be slightly watchful and move away, but it should also be a reminder to keep away. That's why they say satsang, and in the pointers, maybe in the subsequent episodes, we'll discuss that too.
Yes, because you are the company you keep.
Yes.
And what is around you is a vibration, Nick. The people around you, whether it is in any environment, that is what he is pointing at, because vibration affects vibration. So when Baba says such a thing, that stay away, again that is a very beautiful pointer. that can only happen when we are aware. It is a journey of awareness. And honestly, I feel we all intuitively know the people around us whom we need to stay away from. Not because we don't get along with people.
Sorry to interrupt you, but coincidentally, in this very letter, Baba tells Anna that your conscience will speak through you through your intuition, and when people pass their comments, God has given you 2 ears. The second is to ignore all that noise. So, sorry to interrupt you, but Baba himself has said
See,
this.
that is how it happens. So we intuitively know whom to stay away from. But to complete my point, it doesn't mean we don't get along with people, so we stay. It does not mean that, because the ones you don't get along with can be your greatest teachers, as we all know. But what vibration? I will tell you something. This everything is a vibration. I know a guru, I don't know if I mentioned it a few years ago on your podcast. He gets dakshina, and a lot of dakshina he gets in cash. Nick, sometimes he will not touch the cash. He'll say, take it back. I know where this money has come from. It's come from dirty hands. How does he know it? It's a vibration. Everything, not just people, objects in our environment are vibrations. So,
in this book itself, Anna mentions very clearly in the pointer specific where he asks people to keep away from siddhis. And he said people who would try to come to Baba, who possess such powers, he would not even let them come into Dwarkamai. So those lower vibrations, and even in the life of Ramakrishna Dev, he would not even touch water or let people who, as you gave this example of this guru, where it's come off dirty hands, so to speak, he would not even let them offer water to him. So
now, Nick, you've opened a Pandora's box on siddhis, because I'd like to speak about it.
In the subsequent pointers section, so in the next episode. So this has been a very nice discussion in Satsang, Gautam. And is there anything else you would like to add on this chapter?
No, the only thing, Nick, is I do feel this chapter is extremely significant, and I would suggest when people read it, first read through it, through the entire chapter, and then as you read it, mark whatever appeals to you and reread those parts. And after some time, read the parts you have not marked, because you see, as we evolve, different things appeal to us at different times, and the chapter will reveal itself. The darshan is for all of us. That is why it is being given to us, Nick. Look at Baba's grace. This episode was not left with the Gavankar family. It is being shared. There's a reason it is being shared. What is the reason? Baba wants it shared. That is why we are discussing it. You see?
And there's a leela behind this too, which I've mentioned in this book, that I had got an email. See, while we were doing the work with Dr. Vinny, she had mentioned about Dr. Gavankar, and we had done a video on his life in the Mahabhakta series. So she had mentioned the Shirdi Sai Baba book and his other writings. And one day I get an email saying you should contact Dr. Gavankar's son and get a copy of this book. See, I was very occupied with the editing and shoots at that time.
Sure.
Because we had to cover as much ground as we could with her. So even during the pandemic, we were very busy with the recordings of the commentaries. And that email, I will never forget. It stated, get in touch with Dr. Gavankar's son, and they will ship you copies of this book. This is his number. And it would be very nice if you and Gautam can discuss this book, Shirdi Sai Baba, in a series of talks. So I remembered Dr. Vinny mentioning and that video that we had posted. So I wrote to Dr. Gavankarji. He's a very, very humble man. And he sent 5 copies of the book. And thereafter, during the pandemic again, Anand had requested him if we could do a video series. So Anand went to him. This was in the peak of the pandemic, and that video series happened, and who knew all of it would lead to this. So yeah, it is Baba's grace.
And that email?
And it was never to be found, because see, there's so many identifiers. The phone number, I would not delete emails. The phone number of Dr. G, the name, the book's name, it's nowhere to be found.
So you could not find that email
Never.
afterwards.
And I don't delete emails. So I said it is His grace, and how thereafter all these...
That's how it happens, you know. We can't see the stream of events which lead to something. It's like a conspiracy, a divine conspiracy. But we have to be clear that, for example, you and me intuitively felt we need to do a series on this book, and we are doing it. That is just intuition. What have we got to gain, Nick? I mean, let's be honest. We are just sharing it, these teachings from our heart.
I personally feel Dr. Gavankar and his humility, I mean, you know, especially in the chapter of the Pran Pratishtha, that one line stood out to me. It is not me who has done the Pran Pratishtha of Baba's idol. His daughter asked him that later on you have not put any board. How will anybody know you did this? He said, I have not done this. It is Baba who has got it done through me.
So, Nick, I would like to interrupt here. This is also very significant. I feel we need to mention it about Anna Sahib doing the Pran Pratishtha. Can you tell us how it happened?
So, he was the trustee of the Sanstha at the time, the president actually. And in 1954, they had decided that an idol of Baba should come there. And everybody knows the fact that this large stone, this Italian large stone was brought, and they had asked 2 or 3 sculptors, you know, they were looking for, and then they shortlisted it by, I think, the medium of chits to Talimji. And he had his studio in Bombay, and Anna also lived in Bombay, so he would occasionally go visit. So that's all mentioned in the book, and it's quite a lengthy story. But again, through using chits, it was decided that Anna would do the Pran Pratishtha. But I felt this was so tremendous that when he told his daughter that one line, that it is not me who has done it, it is Baba himself who has got it done through me. And to me, that's the whole essence of the teaching and the Gita, that, you know, we are instruments in his hand.
Yes, that is true humility. But I'd like to end this on 2 points. One is that the fact that Anna Sahib did the Pran Pratishtha of the Murti of Baba, which is above the Samadhi, is for me making this book more significant. 2 is humility. That even Ramana Maharshi stressed upon this. My teacher, when he was asked, how do I know if a sage is a sage? He says, if there is humility. If there isn't, that person is not a sage. And he said, true humility is never recognized by the one who has it, which means you really can't say, I am humble. It reminds me, years back, we had Bombay Times, which was on Bollywood and all the social happenings in town. And there was a very big Bollywood star who was interviewed. And the headline, Nick, on the front page of Bombay Times was, basically, I am a very humble person. You see?
So yeah, this is his story, and I feel more than ever it's most relevant to us today, and it's really Baba's grace that we are even able to sit here and speak about him and know about him because it all happens by his grace. And yeah, I look forward, Gautam, in the subsequent episodes to speak with you on the pointers from Anna Sahib. So thank you very much for your time as always.